This is Factoring 101, and it's supposed to be section 8.3. Sorry about that. 8.3, factoring trinomials, the advanced trinomials. These are the ones that have a leading coefficient, a coefficient on the squared term, x squared or y squared. That's something besides a positive one, like a 2 or an 8 or a 6 or 10 or whatever. So what we have to do is we have to consider the contribution that coefficient on the first term makes to the product. Factoring reverses multiplication, as we saw before, so let's look at how we multiply to get a triangle, or not triangle, trinomial like that, sorry. 2x plus 3 times 3x minus 4. Okay, if we multiply this together, the 2x and the 3x multiply together to give you 6x squared. The 2x and the negative 4, negative 8x, 3 times 3x, positive 9x, and 3 times negative 4, negative 12. The two terms in the middle will combine to give you a positive x. Notice how that was created. The two constant terms multiply together to give you that constant term at the end, the negative 12. The two leading terms, the first terms, 2x and 3x, multiply together to give you the 6x squared. Nothing else contributes to those. So it's the factors of those two terms that actually create our factors. The term in the middle is there so that we can figure out which factors of those two terms will create that particular term in the middle, because it does come from two different products, the outside product and the inside product. Alright, so let's give it a try. Let me scoot down a little bit so we've got plenty of room. And let's do 2x squared minus 7x minus 15. Alright, well, we first need to identify the factors of 2 and 15. 2 is easy. That's 1 and 2. We'll let the constant factors absorb the signs, so we'll keep those positive. 15 would be 1 and 15, of course, and then 5 and 3. We got to get negative 7. We are subtracting. Because of the negative 15, I know that we will subtract to get the negative 7. So the terms, the factors from the 15, we'll have to decide what signs they get after we figure out what they are. So I'll have to use the 1 and the 2 for the first factors, and then for the second group of factors we can use whichever of the pairs we want to. I'm going to choose the 1 and the 15. And what I do is I cross like this to multiply. 1 times 15 is 15, and then 2 times 1 gives me a 2. And you'll see in a minute why I do that. Now I know that I have to subtract, so if I subtract those two numbers, I'm getting a 13. That's not a 7. So those are not the correct factors. Now, I can't change the 1 and the 2. I could flip 15 and 1, but 15 times 2 would be 30. That's way too big. So that's not going to work. Let's try the other set. 1 and 2, and 5 and 3. 1 times 3, again, cross into multiply, is 3. And then 2 times 5 gives me 10. I will have to subtract to get the 7, and 10 minus 3 is 7, but that's a positive 7. I need a negative 7. So I will have to put the negative on the 10. If 10 has to be negative, that came from 2 times 5, so that means the 5 would have to be negative. Now, I found the right combination. How do I get it into my factors? Well, the reason why I set it up like that when I do the factors and do the little cross multiplying is so that when we get ready to write our factors down, the numbers that we put together in one factor are straight across from each other. When you multiply and get the products, remember you're doing an outside multiplication and an inside multiplication. You don't multiply the numbers that are inside the binomials together. So now what I can do is I get ready to write my factors, and I set up two sets of parentheses. In the first set, I'll have a 1x minus 5 straight across the top of those two factors that I selected right here, and then 2x plus 3 will give me the rest of that. And that gives me my answer. Now, what I'm going to try to do is give you a second example. Let me see if I can squeeze these and push them out of the way a little bit. There we go. Squeeze it down small and stick it up here, kind of hide it out of the way for us. Now, our second one I want us to do is 6x squared plus 5x plus 1. If you feel like you're ready, pause the video and try this on your own, and then, restart it, catch back up with us. Alright, I'm going to switch to my different colored pen to do our factors. The factors of 6 would be 1 and 6, 2 and 3. This time our coefficient on x squared has a couple of different sets. And of course 1, well, that's just 1 and 1. Alright, so we pick and choose which ones we want to use. I'm going to use the 1 and the 6 first, and 1 and 1 here. If I multiply diagonally like I did before, that gives me a 1 and a 6. Okay, in this instance, the 1 was positive. Our constant's positive, so we'll be adding to get positive 5. Well, if I add these two, I get a 7. Now be careful, because if you subtract them, you get a 5. So you may for a second think that that's right, but it's not. You have to add. Both terms are going to have to be positive to get that 5. So that's not going to work. Let's try swapping out with the 2 and the 3. 2 times 1 gives me 2. 3 times 1 gives me 3. I add those two together. I get 5. 5 is supposed to be positive, so I want that to be positive. Let's scooch up a little bit here. Alright, now I'll write my factors. Excuse me. And again, I just go straight across once I select my correct pairs of factors. So it's going to be 2x plus 1 and 3x plus 1 for our answer. That gives you a couple of little examples to take a look at before you do your homework.